diamond, 5-time platinum, 4-time platinum, gold artist. I seen this.
I am concerned about right now. I've been getting busy. I'm outside. I've been setting an excellent example. You heard I've been you. I break that 30 minutes. They don't fully understand who Nas is. If he says no, but he knows my son cannot name a single Nas record. You heard something like let's keep it a buck here. I actually reached out to Nas to actually whoa. I'm doing chicken head right now because I really want him to be on this record. As if it were Jim Jones. Imagine getting out a pen and paper to write about him. He was quite kind. He was quite polite about them. How did he do this? So Jim Jones isn't simply throwing shade at Nas anymore. Now he is threatening to pull up. But here's the deal. Nas scarcely recognized Jim's existence. And he did it in such a contemptuous manner that it caused Jim to crash out again. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. This isn't your average back and forth beef. Jim Jones is basically carrying a grudge. Nas had moved on long ago. This is a 2-decade-old drama that began with diplomats dissing Nas on mixtapes throughout the early 2000s. Back then, it was all lyrical jabs. But Nas didn't bite and barely responded. However, there's an old video that just resurfaced where Nas basically mocked Jim, stating he wasn't even worth that time. I'm not eager to hear Jim Jones right here. Now, it should have been the end of it, but Jim is still bitter about it, after all these years. At some point, he even threatened to slap Nas, and now he's going off at everyone who criticizes him over his comments about buying superior to Nas, now that Jim is genuinely threatening to pull up on Nas.
Gun has been on my own merit, and there's no comparison to nobody. What I did for the music market in New York was as
a washed-up rapper yearning for attention. And this time, Jim's threats were not just rhetoric. They triggered a massive outcry against him. So let's not get into that where we get into numbers, and I have to show you the statistics of what I've done. You heard about what other people had done. Did you hear? And you want to go to the Billboard entries? Then pull up Nas's and my Billboard submissions. So Jim Jones continues talking about pulling up, but Nas couldn't be less interested. During his recent visit on the Bag Fuel podcast, Jim said that his words sent Nas viral again, which he claims hasn't happened since Ether. What I did for Nas was probably never done for him in his life. He has never been so viral at all, ever. He has never been never in his life has he been discussed in such detail. Have you dug?
Nobody. But I hear the comparisons and the niggas be trying to act funny when it comes. No.
You heard. And then Jim remarked all his peers from his period are too terrified to go up. He is in the booth, and once again, he boldly claimed to be the best of that generation. Now it's as if I'm already here. I am at the pinnacle of what I do. Did you hear? So I'm talking about now? Did you hear? Currently nobody from my vintage wants to get busy or go into the booth with me right now. Currently, this is a fact, Jack. You've heard it. If not, then they would have stood up long ago and yelled at me. Do you dig? And this is where Jim started making threats. He took out cash and challenged Nas or anybody else to settle matters in person. The actual individual right now. And it's not about money, but it's here. You hard. If you want to get busy, there's money on the line. Any of you from my era, I am concerned about right now. I've been getting busy, but no one is biting. And all Jim is concerned about is how embarrassing this circus appears. Now, if you missed how this all started, it exploded earlier this month on the Joe and Jada show when Jim talked about how his view of Nas shifted once he got into the rap game. When Fat Joe approached Jim about a kid comparing him to Nas on Instagram, Jim responded, saying people should go at his Billboard data to see why he always chooses himself over everyone else, regardless of who they're comparing him to. I recently saw a vid on Instagram of a little boy comparing you to Nas and saying that you got my young child some major hits. Yo, he glanced to you. He learned to wear the BB Simon belt from you. He received his goodies. So, how crazy is that? Because in my era, you know what I am saying, Nas is like a deity in my period as well. I mean to be compared, let me please do not allow me be that young kid. He was young, and we loved that he loved Jim Joe. I want you to break down. Let's not get into the part where we get the figures and I have to show you the statistics of what he finished. You heard about what other people had done, did you hear? If you wish to view the Billboard entries, select N's Billboard submissions and my Billboard entries. Listen, we can't compare it to what I'm about to tell you. I want to go down the line. I want to go down the line right now, since I will be going down the line. No. He is a rapper, and I am a rapper. Listen. No. Let's go statistical. That feels wonderful. No. But I want to go statistically because now that people are like, I feel the same way and forget about the numbers. There's nothing that could, there's never, it's me putting myself up against anybody. I always take myself. Each time, across all categories. No, Jim. Every category keeps me busy. But look at that billboard flex, it was all inappropriate. Billboard also took the effort to fact-check Jim. As a solo artist, Jim had 2 Hot 100 hits and 1 Top 10. Nas has 27 Hot 100 entries, 2 of which are in the top 10. In terms of albums, Jim has 3 Billboard 200 entries, but Nas has 27 albums that have charted, 16 top 10s, and 6 number 8 second places. And this error did more than just embarrass Jim. It undermined his entire case for being the best. Even after his Billboard brag failed, Jim refused to back down. And the drama intensified again on Nightcap, with Shannon Sharpe and Chad Johnson. Jim first credited Nas for early influence, but then questioned how long it lasted. So, it began when Shannon asked whether Jim was sober when he claimed he was a better rapper than Nas. Jim retaliated and doubled down, insisting he is not only better, but more influential than the great Nas. May I ask you a question, Jim? MHOM. You're a smoker, right? Yeah. Were you smoking when you said you're better than Nas? I might have been a little bit. Well, let's get this right. I'm far more influential than Nas, and I don't care what anybody says. I know I made a tiny mistake when we talk about the sales and all this type of. I don't feel like getting into the discussion about where I begin and where he well. You mentioned that, but listen, Nas was good to me in high school. Nas came out when I was in 10th grade. Nas was awesome. Way appreciate him. He had a little run. But Nas always came in second to JDMX, and everyone else, as if he never arrived. We never had that kind of control over except for his first album. I have told you I used to want to dress like Nas because he had a lot of new stuff, which the hustlers used to wear. We used to see him on television. He held one of the worst albums of all time. And then in high school, he had The Grill, and like that. So, I'm a huge Nas fan, but he kind of lost me after Bell, the movie Belly and such. Similarly, I didn't worry, man, go ahead with it, GM. I'm trying to tell you something. I'm being you, as you asked me. I'm being a fan. In the movie, Belly was on fire, but after that, he kind of I've been lost. I don't think we were very into the game. And then Jim also brought up Dipset's short-lived spat with Nas back in the early 2000s, saying, "We the ones that went wild on them boys," recalling their 2003 song. I truly mean it. Remember how this goes. That is not something you have ever heard of. Kofi List? Yeah, go back to your history and discover out what happened between us and him. Do you dig? And I'm not trying to repeat history, so don't play with us on that. Bro, we've already gone wild on these boys. You hard. We were the ones that went wild on these boys. Did you hear? Now, we'll go into that history. But first, see how Shannon pushed back, saying Nas. Lyrically outperforms Jim. Look, I'm going to put it like this for Jim. Hey bro, you've been at this, but lyrically, I'm going to keep it stacked with you. Look at how you dress. You're not even in the same places as I am. Days that we can be in the church building. You can't live like that. I do not know who told you that now. Look, I know you're on that nice thing, but you aren't seeing Nas, and yet, Jim refused to back down, challenging Nas to meet him in the booth if he truly wanted to prove it. You got a bunch of 40 and 50-year-olds in their panties because I stated I was better than that. It does matter. Look at you. Look at you all on your phones. Nobody is claiming they are going to take you over. Nobody from the diplomats except you. That's correct. I've got to stand up for itself and meet me in a booth or whatever if we want to something historical. He says he doesn't do that anymore. N says he doesn't do that. He got $100 million. He's an extremely wealthy individual. Did you hear? He is a relatively little businessman. He got Holden. I am rapping. I rap at a high level. You should check my statistics, man. I'm going to run circles around Nas, who is rapping. Nas is rapping right now. I'm currently running Saturn around Nas, rapping. Everyone knows this. After that, however, tensions rose again when Jim challenged Shannon to meet him in the gym and accused Shannon and Uo of booking him solely to increase their ratings. Let's get this right. I'm not mad about sportsmanship. Play the game. People know I'm a really aggressive guy, and I seem to be misconstrued while I'm talking. I'm just talking to you. Let me talk because I'm on the field. If anybody has a problem they can meet me on the field. That's the booth. Anyone from that era. I can sing more Nas songs than you right now. So, you're capping. You're capping. That is what you do. First of all, mate, I'm a greater Nas fan than you are. You're capping. First and foremost, I am 57. I won't be singing any rap. I won't be singing any rap. Do you see what I am saying? Ooh, he doesn't know about. He's just doing it for the views. To get Jim Jones on there and make him hot, I understand. And this is where Jim broke into a full-blown public tantrum, with supporters chewing him alive. Online. Meanwhile, Shannon responded by stating Jim needed their podcast far more than they need him. You do not know. You should check out the podcast. Now you should speak. Welcome to the largest podcast you've ever been on. The largest podcast you have ever been on. Do you know which podcast this is? Hold on. I've been a part of you. If you've been on bigger than when you get big, you get invited to clubs. This is what I do. Club sh. You're on that level yet, bro? It's a bit young. Chill out with me. Bro, relax out. Issue. You dealing with the wrong one right here. Bro, I don't care what you have to say. Bro, you might as well remove me off of this. Hey, we are here. You can't leave me alone, brother. You may out me, but you cannot out-talk me. Who wants to go to Club Shay? Nobody wants to get VIP tickets to that. Nobody is eager to go to that. Have you ever gone to Club Shake Shite? But Jim was not done. He later took to Instagram and challenged Shannon once more to a gym battle. He shared a video of himself doing out with the comment, "Somebody tell Shannon Sharp, don't start ducking this. Challenge now. Will you talk like a podcaster, or will you walk what you say, because my sneakers are tied? You've already challenged me in front of the world. Let's finish the job, champ." Uwinko. He claimed he does not want to do it in public. Let's do it in private. I realize his reputation as an athlete is on the line. LOL. So long as you are a witness, we don't back down from any challenge. Size doesn't matter where I'm from. Run it. Young David to all Goliaths. As you can expect, Jim's desperation Jim flex backfired spectacularly, and fans swamped his post with comments such, "He got wheelchair legs," and calling him a cornball for seeking for attention. It's nearly 50. As for NS, he ultimately reacted, sort of. But before we get there, and here is why calling it a beef is a stretch. It's largely Jim Jones, with a one-sided animosity. So, this whole story started in 2003, when Cameron and the Diplomats, notably Jim Jones, regularly took shots at Nas on mixtapes and radio freestyles. Now, fast forward to 2005, and Nas openly dismissed Jim in a resurfaced video. Basically, Jim isn't even worth fighting with because no one is looking for him. He never made anyone uncomfortable with his bars. Like, if it was like Jim Jones. Imagine putting pen to paper and writing about him. Give us something good. Give us there's something wonderful about him. How did he do this? What is the first sentence? What the are you writing about? I'm not anxious to hear Jip Jones dissig, but a little nervous, like Vipop, right? Even cannabis, like Eminem. Be like, if we go at it, dog, we're going to be hard. You know what I mean. But these remind me of Jim Jones, and I appreciate you for obtaining your money. Just like the game right now. I respect his hustle. I admire his hustle. That's about it. Approximately a year later, Nas released Hip Hop Is Dead, an album that many of his colleagues disliked, but nobody took it more personally than Jim Jones actually threatened to slap Nas. In an interview with Hello, Jim said, "Nas, I enjoy Nas's new song. I'll still slap the holy living out of him, but I like his new song, That's Gangsters At. That is sort of smooth. He has a few of bars in there, but aside from that, I like music, so I can never, but I'll punch him in the mouth if I have to." While Nas kept his distance, in October 2008, during an interview with Rhapsody, Jim persisted despite being ignored. Jim said, "F Nas. I don't care about Nas. He's a rapper who has just lost his edge." Jim also told Rhapsody about a nasty encounter with Nas and Dame Dash at a Ferrari. Jim stated, "Dame saw him and was chatting to him. I was laying back on a couch, giggling. He wasn't sure what to do. I was looking dead at him, and then Dame said, 'You know, Jim,' and he stammered. Dame is simply burnt out. He is not thinking about anything silly. Me neither. Nas was never really on my level. Ever. The most bizarre aspect was Jim's insistence on ignoring the trivial drama. And yet, he is the one carrying a grudge. Nas completely disregarded him as he hurled subtle insults. So, after 2008, the conflict went silent, and no public back and forths. In fact, Jim began to demonstrate respect for Nas's legacy, and he even claimed he reached out to collaborate. However, Nas did not bother to answer. I actually reached out to Nas to actually whoa, I'm doing it right now because I truly want him to be on this record. No, but I still have a lot of mutual buddies, and like it. Actually reached out to Nas. I did send him the record. I received a response from him, not personally, but through the buddies who provided him my phone number. I was told that he wanted to holler at me and like that because he enjoyed the record. This was what I was told, but, get this, Jim freely admitted Nas has always been one of his favorites. Rappers are a huge influence, and even though Nas denied his collaboration invitation, Jim continued to publicly beg for a track, and referred to him as the GOAT. Above everything. Except Dipset, whatever. Before Dipset, I just want to put that on. The record.Nas was definitely one of my favorite rappers of all time since he did the grill while we were in high school. Walking around the hallways at school, we felt that he was him. And that we were as soon as you enter. The pros know what it is, but you don't. On the same team, but I would like to do a record with him, as he is one of my favorites of all time. I believe that bucket list material for me. So you know, we will see what occurs. But, fast forward, Jim has flipped. Going from calling Nas the GOAT and begging for he acts as if he doesn't eveno him and diminish his legacy. So, no surprise that people are clowning Jim, saying whoever hyped him up sufficiently to believe he can rap circles around Nas must be his worst enemy. Meanwhile, Nas remains above it all. He is a Hall of Famer status. It is unnecessary to provide proof. While Jim's like that 40-year-old player, he was working hard to earn his first ring, but just Jim believed he had the upper hand. Nas released a subtle yet sapage, and it made Jim look even smaller. Some followers believe Nas decidedly poke at Jim by delivering a message that he's well above this fight, and it's not even on his radar. Soon, June 21st, Nas shared a photo on Instagram, had dinner with LeBron Draymond Green, and some successful black CEOs. And the message to Jim was plain and simple. You cannot sit with us. If you read the comments on Nas's post, fans say this was the best to all Jim has been yapping recently. Fans left comments like, this is how you silence a one-hit wonder, and sometimes, saying nothing is saying something also. Everyone who believes Nas will stoop to answering Jim clearly does not know Nas. Did we forget him? Does it actually have a bar? Rarely do I listen to guys who have never been in my position. A caterpillar cannot relate to what Teagle envisions.